Okay, we're on Yudam at base. The Gemara asked the question. The Mishnah says that if you have documents which are issued by a non-Jewish court and you have non-Jewish witnesses, the document is a valid document. So the Gemara asked the question, and the Mishnah doesn't differentiate whether it's a loan document, whether the document is referred to as shtar rayo, or it's a shtar kinyon. Meaning, if a person wants a gift, a piece of property, and he writes a document, the document itself is the instrument of transfer. So if the witnesses themselves are not qualified witnesses, what empowers that document to bring about the transfer of the property from the giver to the receiver? That was his question. If you remember, I once met Rabbi Chaim. Andrew, this is important to bring back memories from yeshiva. Rabbi Chaim Brisker says the Rambam rules that shtoros is drabonon. Documents are drabonon. Why? Because on a Torah level, the Torah says, Al pi shnai medim yokum dover. The testimony has to be oral testimony. So, but if a document has witnesses who write, who sign their signatures, it's not oral testimony. Therefore, he says, shtoros is drabonon. Documents are only rabbinical. Because on Torah level, it has no value. Testimony. So, Ravid asks on the Rambam, you mean to say, if a person marries a woman with a shtar, it's only what is drabonon? And why the woman's only married on a rabbinic level, she's not married on a Torah level, carries the death penalty if she commits adultery. And other situations we have documents, it's acknowledged, it's recognized by the Torah. So Reb Chaim explains that the Ravid misunderstood the Rambam. The Rambam is about shtar rayo, a loan document. What creates the obligation by a loan document? It's money which is lent, correct? As a result of that, what is the document? The document's only to verify that there was a loan. But the document doesn't create that. So if that's the case, what does Torah speak about? What does Torah speak about? So it's like witnesses testifying that an event took place. Torah says, Al pi shnai medim yokum dover. It has to be oral testimony. Therefore, to protect the lender, Chazal legislated that even though it's written testimony, for the sake of having proof that he lent the man money, we validate the document, although it's oral testimony. But what about a shtar kinyon, where the document in its own right is the instrument of transfer? That's witnesses write on the document who sign. That is the equivalent of oral testimony. Within the context of shtar, which is where it itself creates the event, whether it's marriage or divorce or transfer of property, like a deed, there, the witnesses, that's not oral testimony. It's not the equivalent of oral testimony. That written testimony is valued no less than, because within the context of shtar, this is what? That is what a shtar is. A shtar means you have written testimony. Shtar raya, there's no such thing as a shtar raya, a verifying document on Torah level. Therefore, that's only drabonon. Right. So that's the Gemara's question. Regarding verification, whether he lent money or not, okay, Anan Tzadi, because they're people of stature, even though they're goyim, they're not going to do anything which is dishonest, because it'll hurt their reputation. It won't reflect well on them. So therefore, Anan Tzadi would say with certainty that this is what, that the man did. If he has this document, he definitely lent the man money. But if shtar kinyon, like shtar matana, where you give a gift, where the document itself, in its own right, it causes the transfer, for that you need valid witnesses. If the goyim sign, where do you have testimony? You don't have this witness. If no, how does it transfer?
You're saying that is the doraisa then?
Shtar kinyon is doraisa. Even Rambam agrees.
There is the doraisa.
That's a doraisa. Shtar kedushin, shtar gitten, and shtar kinyon as the
is like an oral.
The oral is pure verification. That's written. That's rabbinical. Kosav lo sefer krisis. Well, it depends. It's according to a mayor, the kosav means v'chosam. So the Torah is saying you sign on that document. Yeah. So how do we reconcile it with al pi shnai medim yokum dover? The answer is, of course, it's within the context of a shtar. It's a shtar. Yeah. Oral testimony, of course not. But within the context of a shtar, that is what a document which it would affect an affecting document. Either it creates marriage or it terminates marriage, or it.
The Doraisa document is defined as a document with two signatures.
Correct.
So how did they in the zero then? The two who,
According to Rebbe Lozer.
right?
According to Rebbe Lozer, there's no such thing as a document which has a signature on it.
Correct. So
We're going to see later, there's a Tosus. Rebbe Lozer, there's no such thing as Eidei Chasima, according to Rebbe Lozer. We rule Eidei Mesira. We'll see there's a Machlokes Tanoim, because Tosus asks a question on the next page, where Reb Shimon Gamliel only rules like Rebbe Lozer, only by Gitten. Only by Gitten. Only by get Eidei Mesira Karsi. By other shtoros, by other documents, it's Eidei Chasima on a Torah level. So therefore, according to him, it's not a problem. See, according to Rebbe Lozer, comes out that even Shtar Kinyon is Drabanon, unless you have Eidei Mesira. Wait a second. Unless you had Eidei Mesira. That's why I want to do Tosus over here. Right? What?
Eidei Mesira Karsik, one in a situation where you have...
No, but Tosus said it earlier. Karsi is Lavdavka. We had Tosus before.
What would be an example of when you need a Kenyan for a gift?
If I want to gift you a piece of property, how does the gift go from the property go from the original owner to the receiver? He has to give him a deed. We're talking about karka. No, metaltlin. The shtar has no relevance to metaltlin.
what does Karsi mean? The word
Cuts, terminates,
terminates.
right?
Uh-huh.
It's a termination document. But Tos said before in Dav Dalet, it's not limited to Karsi. Any legal transaction, what gives the document its value, its power? It's being the transfer is witnessed by Aiden. That's what does it. So Tosaf here says something interesting. V'omeri, we have the Tosas Chas B'Balma. What?
Only this Tyson from yesterday.
Okay. V'omeri, ki hered de paslinon beget ap Eidei Mesira v'shevis m'fokim
Right, I'm sorry.
Chas B'Balma. That Tosas. Right? After Pirush B'Kuntres. Nachi.
I don't have it. I don't miss it.
Okay. Omeri. The Tosas Chas B'Alma. It's about 8 lines down. Omeri dichege de paslina beget ap Eidei Mesira shevis m'fokim. Right, rabbinically, there's a concept known as mezuyif mitocho. If you have Eidei Mesira on a Torah level, the get is a valid get. But let's say you have non-Jewish signatures on that, non-Jew sign, rabbinically invalidated. Why? Yisrael, because maybe you rely on the non-Jewish witnesses when you don't have Jews witnessing the transfer. We do the same thing. What gives the document its power, empowers the document to cause the transfer? Eidei Mesira. But if you have non-Jews signing on that, it's a problem, rabbinically. Because we're concerned that they say, look, if we have witnesses, what do we need Jews witnessing the transfer? So rabbinically, the Drabanon, we invalidate that document. Shame the rayo. Right? When did the Chachomim say that we will believe them? We're not concerned. By shtari milve umecher shem l'rayo. A loan document or a document, a deed, where the deed is only for verification. As the Gemara says, he purchased it with money, so what is the deed? The deed is not the basis for the transfer. The deed is only proof of purchase of the buyer. Veinase alpi edusa shum kinyon. Right? The kinyon is not being transacted as a result of the testimony of the non-Jew. Avishtar matono, he's going to explain the Gemara's question. Avishtar matono, and kosher liknos midoraiso. Now, a document which is a gift document, where the document itself is the basis for the transfer, has to be infused with what? With empowered to bring about the transfer. Elkin yesh edim ksherim b'shas mesiro You have to have kosher witness witnessing that transfer of the document. Now, va'afilim noma sheshtar ma'aton shchos bo yishel kosher liknos bo below edim mesira. He says, even if you will say, if you have Jewish witnesses on the document, and it would be valid, it could bring about the transfer, even if there are no Jewish witnesses witness the transfer. This is very important. What are you saying? Let's say we hold like, not like, you hold not like, you hold like Rabbi Los, not like Rameir. Not like Rameir. And now you have kosher witnesses signing on it, and there were no Edi Masira. There were no Edi Masira.
We're holding like Rabbi.
Like, you're holding like Rabbi Lozer,
Okay.
and there were no Edi Masira.
Right.
You only have Edi Chasim on the document.
Oh, good.
Wait. Those say it will be valid. Why? Because when you see the Edi Chasima, let's say on a deed, you have Jewish signatures, and that deed is in the hands of the receiver, not the original owner, we could all say with certainty, because of those witnesses, those Jews signed on that document, they're attesting to the fact that this document originated where? Originated by the seller or by the gifter. So since the source of that knowledge is rooted in valid testimony, that is the equivalent of Edi Masira. Since that fact is rooted in testimony, which is acknowledged and recognized by the Torah, that's the equivalent of Edi Masira. We'll get to something in a moment. To's saying a tremendous kiddush. He's saying this even according to Rabbi Lozer.
Sounds like there is no Edi Masira.
Wait. You'll hear in a minute. If you remember, we spoke about the Rambam. The Rambam rules that the machlokas, Rabbi Lozer and Rameir, is not whether Edi Chasim are sufficient. Rambam says, Rameir argues where Rabbi Lozer says you need Edi Chasima. Rabbi Lozer says Edi Masira is sufficient. But if you have Edi Chasima, definitely it's valid. So it's Af Edi Masira Karsi. When Rabbi Lozer is arguing, he's saying Af. Even though there are no witnesses in the document, that's sufficient. But if you have witnesses who signed, according to Rabbi Lozer, it's definitely good. Not because it says, because v'chosam means v'chosam. Because when you have those witnesses in the document that attest to the fact that this document originated by the husband or by the seller. Therefore, now that you see those signatures in the possession of the receiver or of the woman, it tells us definitely that get or that deed was given by the gifter to the receiver.
So according to what we're saying, then it sounds like that those signatures are more important than Edi Masira, according to what
Not more important. They're equivalent of that. No, they're more effective.
more effective.
They're more effective.
Correct.
More effective. They're only more effective because let's say afterwards the husband contests it, right? Edi Masira contests. I never gave it to her. She had it written up on her own, right?
Right.
But when you have Edi Chasima, he can't say that because Jewish witnesses wouldn't have signed on behalf of the woman. They originally signed on behalf of the man. So how did she get the get? Evidently, he must have given it to her. But how do we know that? Because she's in possession of the document, and the document definitely didn't begin with her. It originated with the husband.
Yesterday, you said that the Roland Gamliel issued that there has to be signatures on there. It couldn't be like Rabbi Elazar.
No. Rebbe Leal, they tikkun olam for the sake of the best interest of the woman.
Right.
He said that even according to Rabbi Elazar, you should have Edi Chasima.
But according to Rabbi Elazar, he says that what we're learning right now, Rabbi Elazar holds that Edi Chasima is more effective than Edi.
No, but again, according to Rabbi Elazar, you don't need it. That's the tikkun olam. According to Rabbi Meir, Edi Masira mean nothing.
Right.
Rabbi Elazar says they have value. They have value to validate the document, to empower the document. But let's say afterwards the husband says, I never gave the document. Then you got a problem. He says there were never witnesses who witnessed me giving the get to my wife.
Right.
So having the witnesses sign tell us that the husband's a liar. And therefore we ignore him.
And that's the one case of get that we're worried about. We're worried about the husband coming back and saying,
The most important.
We're worried even the woman. Let's say the woman wants to create a fictitious get. She'll write it up herself, and she says the husband gave it to her. How do you disprove it? So in fact, she's not believed because she has a cheskes ish, right? She's a presumption she's a married woman. But once you have those witnesses there, it's clear it didn't begin with her because Jews would not put their names on that document. For who did they sign? They signed on behalf of the husband. So if they signed on behalf of the husband, so why does she have the document? Must be the husband gave it to her. But the chiddush is, so factually there were no Edi Masira, Tosa is saying. Even though there are no Edi Masira, but since there are Edi Chasima, you have Jews who sign, and that tells us that it was given by the husband to the wife, that is the equivalent of us knowing that it was transferred, that's the equivalent of Edi Masira.
You say the same thing by Jews.
Wow.
Muhammad?
Same thing.
No, it doesn't have to have Jews sitting in
Doesn't have to have the recipient's name.
But then you don't know what that.
Doesn't make a difference. We don't. No, we don't. We're not to suspect maybe it was lost. Somebody else picked it up.
You say the same thing by Jews by Mama.
No, that's what I'm saying. He's not going like Rameir. It's not because he's going. He says. He says midoraisa. It's only valid if you have 80 ksherim b'shas mesira. Then he says, even regarding a gift, a document which is a deed, which causes the transfer, if you have Jewish signatures, he's going to call 80 mesira. That is the equivalent of having 80 mesira. That is the equivalent. Even though there were no 80 mesira, he says why? What does he need that for? The document in its own right is empowered. The Eidei Chasima tell us that the document was transferred from the husband, given by the husband to the wife. Look, then he says something. We had it earlier, remember we had Ksav Yad. If a husband would write it in his own handwriting, no witness whatsoever. And now the woman has the wife has it. It's clear. She didn't write this herself because it's the husband's signatures. How did she get it? So there are no witnesses. That since we say Hodas Baldin came Domi, his admission is the equivalent of 100 witnesses. Mm-hmm. So if it has that value, so we have testimony that it was given by the husband to the wife. What is the base for the testimony? His own admission. What's the admission? His signature, his handwriting. That's Ksav Yodo. Come here, Chiddush. 1 second. But he says, let's say non-Jew signed on that document. One doesn't have witnesses who witnessed the transfer, or witnesses who signed who are qualified to testify.
But it's still.
Mm-hmm. And there's no way the husband's not admitting to it. The document has no innate ability to bring about a result.
Why is that such a chiddush?
Wait. I'll tell you what's a chiddush. We're saying that judges and witnesses, a document that's issued by a prestigious court, not an ordinary court, definitely they will not sign or issue a document unless it's absolutely truthful. So we're talking about Anan Sadik. There's an Anan Sadik. We could all attest that this event took place. He says still it's not valid. That deed it was issued by the government, that deed, without Dina Malchus Dina, there's no transfer. Although we could all attest factually that document wouldn't have been issued unless it's truthful. Wait a second. Wait. Why? That's a chid. Why not? But we could all attest factually. We know fact. This is fact. The answer, but where is that fact emanating from? It's emanating from non-Jews. Here, the fact, it's a chiddush.
But it's a get. They're
Understand that.
not
Understand that.
valid eidim on a get. So no
I'm not
matter
saying
what.
the get. I'm saying if we're saying that if we could all attest that this was given by the husband, we are the witnesses, right? We are the witnesses. The Jewish public.
Okay.
We know it was given.
Okay. No.
We know it was given. He says even if you have 80 chasim, if there were no 80 mesira, according to Rabbi Lazar, it would be valid. Tosa says because since you have signatures, that tells us where did it originate.
Jewish.
Yeah.
Jews against the
Right.
Right? That tells us it originated by the husband.
Right.
One second. Did anybody actually witness the giving? No, nobody witnessed the giving.
Okay.
But since the woman is in possession, we know factually it was given. We know factually it was given. So if we know factually it was given, that's the equivalent of 80 Masira.
Unless she took it.
No, she can't take it. She's not suspect that she stole the get, right? That she has a cheskes kashrus. She's not a thief.
So we just said, though, if it was non-Jews signing it. then we're-
No, but he said, but if non-Jews would sign it, so although we know the document is a truthful document, and we could all attest to the fact it was given by the husband to the wife, but since the ones who signed, they have no standing as witnesses, therefore it's nothing. Even though factually we have an anatzadi. We could say with definiteness that this document was given by the husband to the wife.
Last case here,
If they have a car, you have two witnesses, one is a car, it doesn't count, even though they're kosher, because they're not counted as equal.
No. By a regular car, it's not. Let's say if Moshe and Aaron, they would sign on a get. There's no way Moshe and Aaron are they going to lie, right? But yet, if Moshe and Aaron signed on the get is not valid. The answer is because where is it emanating from? It's emanating from something which has no value. Although we could say with certainty it is.
Mama, we could trust Jews. We're non-Jews.
These are even
Trust
non-Jews.
Jews.
Okay.
Trust Jews.
You drink the juice afterwards, okay? Leave it out of here. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Rabbi, the last case, which you have a non-Jewish husband challenging the get.
A non-Jewish husband.
I mean, you have a Jewish husband challenging, you've got two non-Jews on the
On the get, it's nothing. We accept
So what's
we
the
accept the
finish?
challenge of the husband.
Yeah. that's what I'm trying to-
Even though there's not decided that this woman received the get from the husband,
Do you think that the court system somehow, in the integrity of the court system, would override the challenge of the husband?
no, because there's not decided. The husband's a liar. This get definitely was given by the husband to the wife, because otherwise the court wouldn't have issued the there's a court document issued by the court, right? Factually, the fact is there.
And our problem is, you can never use them as witnesses.
Because since that information is emanating from something which is not hard evidence, therefore I don't give the anatzadi that value.
So why would Rabbi Elazar hold that it's good? It's no good. He says it will be no good.
It is
Why?
good. By where?
Non-Jews signed the document.
Even Rabbi Meir holds it's
and
no good.
nobody saw the Masira. So what's the chiddush of Rabbi Elazar to say that it's not good? Of course not good.
But what about if you have Jewish witness sign? Did anybody witness the giving?
We just said Rabbi Elazar hold that if the Jews signed
Why? Because there's no way the woman could have received the get
Fine.
unless it was given by the husband. Of course, the witness wouldn't have signed on it.
Correct.
So good. So it's based on what we call Aran Sadi. We could all attest to the fact. So what about if you have a court issuing a document, witnesses non-Jew sign on it, this document attests to the fact it was given by the husband to the wife. That's fact. That's Aran Sadi. We could all attest to that.
But there's no Eid Masira.
Before there was no Edim Masir either. Right? But yeah, we said that's sufficient.
That's
The answer-
those are Jewish witnesses.
But it's the same fact. We could all attest.
So we're talking no witnesses, no Eid Masira, good get. Well, that throws everything out the window then, or Mayor and Rabbi Elazar.
I mean, you have to understand it. If the Anan Sadi is an Anan Sadi, what difference does it make, right?
Right.
But he's differentiating whether the Anan Sadi is based on testimony or it's based on just a presumption. We are witnesses. We are attesting to the fact. So I think this is the difference. Whenever we speak of Anan Sadi, there could always be an exception to the rule. We could all attest. It's like a probability. Probability is not enough to give a get its status. It has to be absolute. It has to be within the absolute context. So if it starts, we have witnesses, Jewish witnesses signed. Witnesses who signed, that's evidence. Our anatzadi is based upon evidence. Because they wouldn't have signed as witnesses on behalf of the woman, they signed on behalf of the husband. So now that we see the get in the possession of the husband, based on their signatures, I know this was given by the husband But when a non-Jew signs, what is the basis? Because since it's a court of integrity, therefore they wouldn't do something which is illegal. But that's our understanding. But maybe this one time they did. You know, the Rambam says in Hilchos Eidos that when two witnesses testify, you accept the testimony as fact. So the Rambam asks, but maybe they're not saying the truth? Doesn't make Torah says if two witnesses testify because the presumption is they're valid, we accept their statement, their testimony as fact. Torah never said that regarding a non-Jew. So here where you have two witnesses sign, and we find the get in the possession of the wife, we have hardcore evidence that this get, where did it begin? It began in the possession of the husband. The husband was the one who gave it. When you have non-Jew signing, although we could say with certainty these witnesses, this court would not issue an illegal document, but what is the basis for that? Not evidence. It's our presumption that we could all test they're not going to do such a thing. But that's not hardcore. That's not evidence. That's not evidence. That's good maybe for a monetary situation. But to infuse the get, to give the get its viability and empower it to be able to terminate a relationship, it's not going to do it. Therefore, the get has no value whatsoever. It doesn't. By milv it works because it's a sharayo. It's a sharayo. My Torah there, you have to infuse it. You have to have testimony which empowers the document. For empowerment, you need witnesses. There are no witnesses here. No, because the Torah says you need people who are qualified as witnesses. But one thing I want to say over here, we mentioned many times, famous Chuvas or Rashba, that if two witnesses are under the chuppah, and they have to witness the ring being given by the husband to the wife. Let's say both, the husband was searched, he had the ring, the wife did not have the ring. And he says, Harei Mukadeshes Li, with the ring, and then the witnesses are distracted, and they turn their heads away, and they turn their heads back, they see the ring on the finger of the wife. Right? Ishi Mukadeshes. And they heard, Harei Mukadeshes, they're not Mukadeshes. They actually have to witness the act of marriage, which is putting the ring on the finger. Right? Even though afterwards it's indicated it was definitely was given by the husband, they did not witness the act of marriage. Okay. Nachi, Purim's how many weeks off? Okay. So what I'm saying, according to the Rashba, having something which is retroactive is only after fact. Seemingly, you have to have that at the time. So, Rabbi Elazar is of the opinion, Edi Masira Karsi. What empowers that document? The witnessing of the witnesses. It's not later that I know, but factually, were we aware when the get was given from the husband to the wife? Weren't they aware? Why is that different than Kedusha? No, it doesn't make a difference. We're saying, even according to Rabbi Elazar, that if you have 80 chasima and you find the get in the possession of the wife, that's sufficient. According to the Rashi, it can't be sufficient. Because factually, at the time when the get was given from the husband to the wife, there was nobody who witnesses the transfer. No, I'm talking about a Torah level. I'm not talking about.
How does Rameir hold that?
No, Rameir says no, but you don't, because that's what the Torah says. You don't need witnesses witnessing the transfer. As long as the document has witnesses and that document is given from the husband to the wife, it's sufficient.
Rameir hold that the ring put it on
That's separate. That's separate. He would agree also it's not valid, but it's two separate issues. But here, if we say Edi Masira, according to Rabbi Elazar, that means witnesses have to witness the act of divorce. They didn't witness it. We know it was given, but were we there to witness the transfer? We weren't. So seemingly that should be the same as the ring. And Tosafos says does make a difference. Even though after fact I only know what took place prior, that's sufficient. That's what Tosafos says. I understand. So she has the ring on her finger. Why is that? It's very relevant. Witnesses themselves see the ring on her finger. You have to differentiate. Wait, no. You have to differentiate because we have the case, we have a Mishnah before. Ksav Yodo, is valid. Right? A person writes a get in his own signature, handwriting, and you find the get with the woman, it's valid. Even the Rashba agrees to this. It's a Mishnah.
Okay.
It's how do you differentiate? Right? So you have to say very simple. It's not simple. But you have to say simply this. The ring itself inherently is a ring. Piece of gold, whatever it's worth. We find it now by the woman. There's nothing to indicate that this was transferred, given by the husband to the wife, only because how did she get it other than him giving it? Right? But over here, the witnesses that signed on the get, when did they sign? They signed before it was given. So there's something inherent in the document which is evidence. So this evidence preceded the giving. You understand? The ring is an object. The witnesses, what gives the get its validity? The witnesses on it. So even though I only see the witnesses afterwards, but clearly these witnesses were signed before. So the evidence pre-existed the giving. I only become aware of it afterwards. But what is it rooted in my awareness? In the signatures on the document. Right? That's what you have to say. And that's why even the Raj will agree, Ksav Yodo. If it was written in his own handwriting, it's clear. This document, where did it begin? So Ksav Yodo is like, he said, Hodos Baldin. It's like a person makes an admission. It's indisputable, it's rooted in a person, that if he would make an admission, it has the same status as what? As witnesses.
This document with the husband wrote it. No witnesses on it.
No witnesses whatsoever.
Just his
Rabbinically, we say it should not be used. But if, let's say, she marries, the child's not a mamzer, we said earlier. Child will not be a mamzer. On Torah level, it's a valid yet. Even rabbinically, we don't deem the child to be a mamzer. Okay?
So it's a shtar tradition. They also don't have to, the Adam sign on that shtar, don't have to see it being handed over.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's
like
only,
ring.
no, it's
Like a
only
ring, they will
only
have
the
to
ring,
see.
only
Right,
kesef.
ring.
Only kesef, for this reason.
Tosus allows for Anansadi for Masira, meaning if someone has...
Yeah, but the Anansadi is rooted in the testimony that the signatures, the witnesses which are in the document. That's the basis for the Anansadi.
And he would not allow for non-Jewish aid in Masira.
That the Mishnah says.
So how does that work?
No, it's
You
bullshit.
allow-
No,
or
it-
my question is, if you can rely on Anansadi, but you can't rely on witnesses.
The
non-Jewish
Anansadi causes that we could attest that it was given.
But everyone else is-
We are the equivalent of the Eidi Masira.
Okay.
We know it was given by the husband to the wife. But how do we
Okay.
know that?
Because
Because
she
the
has
witnesses, there's kosher witnesses on the document. But if non-Jews sign on that document, the Torah doesn't
No,
acknowledge
Masira,
that.
not the Masira.
I'm so Eidi Masira,
Yeah.
right? But if you have non-Jewish witnesses sign the document, what is the basis for the Anansadi? Not testimony. The basis for the Anansadi is because it's a presumption. The court of this standing would not issue an illegal document.
So,
But that's presumption. That's not evidence.
but
You said that's the more. No. There's no Medina by Gitten. Yeah, right. Correct. That's what. Correct.
Anansadi is that we actually are testimony.
No, we
testifying,
could
or-
attest to fact.
Or we're just
The court, we could attest to fact,
statistically saying it works.
which means when you have Eidim, kosher witnesses, that's more than statistic. The statistic is based upon fact. Fact which has been established in evidence. You got it?
Yeah.
Because there's no way it could have come to her unless, because the kosher witness is on it. If the goyim, non-Jew signed, it's our presumption that the court will not issue an illegal document. Therefore, if she's in possession, it must be given by the husband. But that presumption is not rooted on hardcore evidence, because the testimony of a goy is not fact.
But also in that case, she also has it.
Doesn't make a difference. But what's the basis for the Anansadi? The basis is witnesses who are not the equivalent of evidence.
So the reason Rabbi Elazar...
Let's say the whole world could attest to the fact that this non-Jew never lied in his life,
Yeah.
right? Never lied. And he testifies that Ruvi killed Shimon. Would you believe him? Could you? You're not permitted. Because because regardless, it's our evaluation. He himself does not have the belief to verify that fact. The fact is not evidence.
Right, I'm just comparing an Anansadi to...
I'm explaining to you,
Yeah.
they're both Anansadis. The question is, from where does the Anansadi emanate from? Does it emanate from evidence, or does it emanate from presumption?
Okay.
That's the difference.
You don't have to use the car, you can use the car as a filter, but it also...
Same idea, be no different.
So get back to Rabbi
Like in
Elazar.
a secular court, you could have two relatives signing a document, right? So yeah, and the court accepts it. So say it's like two goyim, same thing.
So according to Rabbi Elazar, then the two Nandus signed on that get, and it was, it
So-
wouldn't be good. I mean,
It's no good.
The star is
Everybody agrees
valid.
it's no good. It's not good.
Right. So then again, he's having a hard time with.
Even though we have 80 Masira, we have the 80 Masira, correct? From an Ansari point of view.
Right. So it wasn't even related to it.
It's not real 80 Masira, it's Ansari. The Ansari is based on because you have 80 Chasima. That is the basis for the Ansari. Okay.
So wait, remember here that presumption is not sufficient.
It depends where the presumption emanates from. If it emanates from evidence or it emanates from just our presumption. Okay.
Presumption is not valid. It's evidence which is valid. It's a presumption.
Okay.
Correct?
It's correct, but it's not as simple as you're saying it. Because I'm saying, if the non-Jewish witness is signed, although we have the same presumption, the get is not valid. But if you have kosher witness signed, what is the basis for the presumption? Because these witnesses wouldn't have signed for the woman, they signed for the husband. So that's based on evidence that the get is a viable get. Therefore, when we find it in the hands of the woman, the presumption is that she only received it because the husband gave it to her. That's the difference. Okay, let's go further.
The example you gave earlier about the ring on the woman's finger, it was a presumption when it was on the woman's finger that the husband put it there, but it's not valid.
Okay.
Maybe the shul ends
Who's Shmuel?
tomorrow.
Shmuel says Dina Malchus Dina.
Right, that gets around this whole. There we would treat the witnesses.
But it's Hefker Bez and Hefker. Because there's Dina Malchus Dina, we say Hefker Bez and Hefker. Yet we don't, it has nothing to do with Hefker Bez and Hefker. I said you have to answer, Morris can answer. We had Bible 80 Masira, and you had Goyim signing, which was Shemus Mufokim. Okay? Okay, let's go a little further. Reb Shimon Omer Afei Luk Sheirim. Reb Shimon says in the Mishnah that even the get that's issued by the non-Jewish court, with non-Jewish witnesses, also it's valid. But how could it be? The one who issued the get, they're not within the parsha of divorce. So Tosas himself says, the Gemara could have said more simply, right? They're not qualified to testify. You need Eidim on the get. They're not Eidim. The Maharsha points out, you can say it was written Lishma. It wasn't written Lishma, so how is it valid? Omer Reb Zera Yord Reb Shimon Lishitosu Sher Bloser. So Reb Zera says Reb Shimon assumed the position of Reb Bloser, Doma Eidim Masira Karsi. So if it's 80 Masira, that gives the viability to the get. But the problem is, but you have non-Jewish signatures on it. Rabbinically, we should have validated. We're going to continue.